Every Wednesday from 2 p.m.
You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go downtown.
94.1 FM, 3WBC is inviting you to join us
every Wednesday from 2 p.m.
for Downtown.
Adam, can I get a sound test from you, or you'd like to join us tomorrow?
I'm here. What would you like me to talk about first, Jerry?
Right, okay. So a couple of things. How it started last week, it was amazing because first of all, round 22 in AFL, and who's playing AFL fixture? Let's have a look at the fixture at the moment. And
round 22, we've got the Bulldogs playing North Melbourne on Thursday night. So you would expect the Bulldogs to get up in that one, but North Melbourne have vastly improved on last season. Then you've got Brisbane against Hawthorn in Brisbane. Yep. I think this is where we find out where my Hawks are really at, having to play Brisbane in the home ground. Last year they kind of bullied us in the two games. So we get to see where we're really at going in the finals and whether we can actually go with an assault towards the premiership. Then Saturday we have Melbourne versus Fremantle at the MCG. Melbourne will put up a fight, but you expect the Dockers to get that one. Then we've got Sydney against Port Adelaide in the afternoon at the SCG. Sydney should win that easily. Geelong versus Essendon in Geelong. They'll win that probably by a 100-point margin. Adelaide versus Richmond. How are you going that one, James?
Adelaide will smash us. It's in Adelaide. No contest.
Yeah, well, Richmond have a bit of confidence after getting the win last week. And then we've got the Giants playing the Suns in Canberra on Sunday at 1 o'clock. So that's anyone's game, that one. And then you've got West Coast and Collingwood from Optus Stadium in Perth. West Coast might have a chance, but chances are Collingwood will win the game. And then we've got the big matchup.
Oh, it's not going to be. Hang on, just a minute. Wait a minute. Last week, we categorically you said we were going to get smashed. Now, how come you've got a big game? It's only St Kilda. I think that if I was to have a guess at it without being biased, it's Carlton.
Well, it's Carlton, but that's exactly why I'm saying it's a big game, because Carlton are just as likely to trip over themselves this week.
Oh, here we go. There's this Collingwood feeling about it all.
So St Kilda are playing Carlton, and this is at Marvel Stadium at 7:20 p.m. But the thing about this game, there's actually a pre-game before it. So the St Kilda play Carlton in the AFLW in the season opener at 4:15 at Marvel Stadium. So are you going along to watch both the women and the men's game this weekend, Jerry?
Oh, look, that's a question for the panel.
Well, you're the Carlton supporter.
I'm gonna go to the Carlton. I'm not worried about St Kilda. I'm actually locked in for the week after that with Freo at the. I think it's going to be at Marvel, Carlton and Freo next week.
Well, I can definitely say you get smashed in that one 2 weeks in advance.
Okay, right. Thank you, Adam. The current AFL ladder, as we see it, let's have a look at that at the moment. So Freo is at the top. Sydney's still sitting on number 2. Hawthorn, third. Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne. Melbourne's still sitting there with 107.8. Okay, so anyway.
And then we move into the wild card area.
Yes.
Geelong, Western Bulldogs, Collingwood, and Carlton have snuck in.
Yes, I know.
Spot.
Yep.
And then you can round out the bottom teams for us, Jerry.
All right, St Kilda, GWS, Giants, North Melbourne, Gold Coast, Port Adelaide, and West Coast, and Richmond moved up to number 17. Well done, which leads me to the next question that I have. Now, James, last week you wished for Richmond to get a win
Yes, and they did.
How do you feel now?
Oh, happy. You always want to win. It's important with a young team to give them the feeling of what a win means. It wasn't a pretty win. It was more a case of West Coast losing the game rather than Richmond winning it. They had a lot more scoring shots than us. They kicked atrociously. At one stage, they were 3 goals 17. It was just a dream day for Richmond. They kept on missing, and we took our opportunities when they presented. West Coast had more inside 50s. They looked the better team, but bad kicking is bad football, so Richmond won.
Well done. We're all glad because last week it sounded pretty dire. Anyway, Nathan Broad
Yes.
retiring after round 23. Your feedback on that?
Nathan Broad has been a fantastic servant of the
Yep.
Richmond Football Club. Triple premiership player, holds the record for the least number of games played by a player to win 3 premierships. He won his 3rd premiership in his 70th game. He was a mature age recruit, taken with pick number 67 in the 2015 draft. And he's been a good, honest player, never has a bad game. He goes about his business just quietly, and good club man, fantastic club man. He's been recognised by his peers, winning the Francis Burke Best Clubman Award for the last 3 years, and I wish him well in his retirement. He's been a great servant for Richmond.
Good
And
on
most importantly, he got married to one of the girls from Love Island.
Well, I always say, Adam, he should have won a retrospective Norm Smith medal for the famous photograph he produced, draping his premiership medallion around a well-endowed lady's chest after the 2017 premiership.
Now, funny enough, this morning when I was sitting at Kew Junction, they have big advertising screens above the old Clifton Hotel, and up came
Yes.
it was a thing from Richmond saying congratulations, Nathan Broad.
Yeah. Well, the catch cry of the Clifton Hotel used to be "Get a stiffy at the Cliffy."
James, this is a family-friendly show, thanks.
Oh no, I'll have to. Where's that silence button? James, just another question for you, Governor. Sam Lalor, is he the next Dusty Martin?
Not yet, Jerry. Long
Right.
way to go.
Right.
He's only in his 2nd season. He's had a lot of injuries, hamstrings, Achilles. He's got to build up his fitness base. He did show glimpses of Dusty on the weekend with the last goal of the game with the fend off.
Yeah.
Look, he's got the famous number 4. He's got the crew cut haircut. He looks like Dusty at times,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
long way to go to be Dusty. But
All right.
if he's half as good as Dusty, we'll all be happy.
Oh, absolutely. I think Australia would be all over. Adam, Mitchell locked in till 2030. As a supporter, any expectations from Mitchell now?
Well, he's brought the team up from sort of 15th, 16th position over the time he's been there. He's rebuilt the list, and now they're making a run at a premiership. So you'd want to re-sign him and keep the good things going that he's put in, rather than you don't want to toss him out and let him walk to another club. Imagine if he went to Carlton. That'd be a disaster. Disaster for Hawthorn. It'd be good for Carlton, eh? They'd finally get a decent coach there.
Oh, here we go. We want to rub it in.
We know that you're back on the Josh Fraser train, of course.
Of course, I've got all the other supporters backing me up. So anyway, I needed to hand over to you because you've got a bit of netball, basketball, and then because our special guest, like I said, Commonwealth Games 2026 Master Panelist Paul Beauvais is sitting there and just about to answer all these hard questions.
Before I get into that, Jerry, can you just bring out Paul's surname once more?
Paul Beauvais. Beauvais.
Spot on, Jerry.
Well done, Jerry. So we've got Paul in tonight because he's the master athletics mind that we know. So first of all, Paul, the Commonwealth Games finished 2 days ago. they had the closing ceremony. But let's just talk about some of the main athletics runs during the time there. So what about the men's 3,000 metre steeplechase? What can you tell us about that?
Well, no surprises there. It was Kenyans first, second, and third.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the 10th consecutive gold medal they've had in the Commonwealth Games steeplechase. So they completely dominated.
Yeah. What about in the women's? Do you know the results from the women's?
I think the women's was a mixture. It was an African woman was first, and I think a British woman came second, and another African third. So occasionally you'll see a non-African come through in the medals. You know, it's like famously years ago there was an Italian who got second in the Olympic one, and which was a surprise to everyone. But it's pretty much dominated by Africans.
Okay. Can you explain to the listeners the difficulty of running the steeplechase in regards to having to jump over, especially the water hurdle?
Oh, it's well. First of all, your rhythm's been broken the whole time, so you keep having to hurdle, and then suddenly you've got to leap off the water jump, and it does everything to completely mess with you, and it's a very difficult event. I think the cross country specialists might be better at it because they used to possibly having their rhythm broken.
Right.
But
And if you don't clear it properly, do you get like a shoe full of water?
oh yeah, it can be worse than that. You know, you can slip on it, and it can be very painful. The way you land, go in the water.
Do the competitors wear socks under their shoes? Because you're going to end up with wet socks if you fall into that water.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, probably not because the spikes are fairly tight fitting. So I'd
Right.
imagine that maybe some do. When I used to wear spikes, I never wore socks.
Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about the mile. So is that normally run at the Commonwealth Games?
No, this is a special event because they've had to redo everything for Glasgow because it was a late notice thing and they've done it on a budget. They've decided to change a few things around, make it all a special event, even though they've cut a lot of things out. So they brought back the mile, which was the staple, that was the main event in all the games from the 1930s up to 1966, I think.
And
And
so
then
why did they remove it?
because it would have been usurped by the 1,500 meters, which became the event.
So they didn't have a 1,500 meters then.
No, it was a mile, and then 1,500 took over. And it's only about, I don't know what the difference is, 150 meters, something like that.
Less or more?
The mile is more. So it's
Okay.
100 and something meters more. Yeah, so it's 4 laps, basically,
All right.
rather than the 3 3/4 of 1,500 meters. Yeah.
And the results, so firstly the women, have you got the top
Yeah.
three?
The women was just a clean sweep for Australia.
Yep,
So
so we had,
Abby Caldwell, Jessica Hull, and Claudia Collingsworth.
yeah,
Yeah, brilliant. They all ran brilliantly. Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic to watch. Yeah.
yeah. And what about the men? So, of course, I know who won.
Yeah. Well, the men's that was for me the highlight of the whole thing was the men's mile because seeing Josh Kerr, who at the moment is undoubtedly the best in the world at the mile.
And can we mention that he's Scottish?
Yeah, Scottish. Yeah, and he was in front of his home crowd, so he was obviously lapping it all up. But he's unbeatable at the moment. And but the great surprise was to see Cameron Myers, the young Aussie guy, 20 years old. What a sensational runner he is, and he really went into that race thinking he could beat Josh Kerr as well. He's got so much confidence. Unfortunately, the mile can be a rough race, as we all saw. There was lots of pushing and shoving. Someone got knocked off the track. people were getting boxed in and they had to fight their way out and things like
Yeah,
that.
well,
So I think,
Kerr got boxed in for a lot of the race and had to actually
yeah,
push runners out of the way so you get to
yeah,
the outside.
yeah. But he's experienced, and and he nothing was going to stop him. I
So,
think
so
maybe
did
Cameron. Sorry.
I was just going to say, did Kerr go into a sprint at the end from what distance out from the finish line, do you reckon?
I think they all started moving up for the position for the sprint, and I think I can't remember exactly, but I think it was from about 200 out that he really went.
And he really
I
ran
might be
away
wrong. I
from
can't
him.
remember.
Yeah, he really ran
So
away from him at the end. Sorry, you were talking about Myers, the Australian.
yeah. He's just great to watch because there happens to be a few young up and coming runners now who came onto the scene at 16 years old. So there's Myers, there's a guy from New Zealand called Sam Ruth, and then they're basically following in the footsteps of Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who's the Norwegian Olympic champion, and he also came on the scene at 16, which is actually quite unusual in middle distance running because people tend to mature in their mid 20s, and you don't normally see them at this level so young. And what can I say? It's just a joy to watch when they're really young and they can take on these these top runners in the world. Yeah,
Yeah, I really enjoy watching those two events, like the 1500 and also the steeplechase. But unfortunately, now we'll move on and talk about the glamour event, the 100 meters.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, in the men, of
The
course,
men, it was
run in pouring rain one night in Glasgow.
yeah. So it was a Cameroon runner, Ezeme. I think that's how you say his name.
Yep, and that was the first ever gold medal in track for Cameroon.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah,
And then,
and then you had the surprise package, Lachlan Kennedy,
yep,
who is I mean, he's incredibly talented, and when you look at him, you'd wonder, is this guy really a 100-meter runner? I mean, not take anything away from it, but he doesn't look like one when you see the size of all the others and everything. He's got a slightly different shape, but he's an incredible runner, incredible, and I believe he's pretty young as well.
yep. And
Uh,
the third place for the bronze.
Third place was a Nigerian runner. So again, Nigeria, you sort of expect them to do well in the 100 meters. That's always been one of their strongest events.
Okay, so the young Australian runner,
Yeah.
who's sort of arrived on the scene, why did he not run at the Commonwealth Games? I've forgotten his name.
The
Gout.
Yeah, that's him. Gout.
He's got a severe hamstring injury.
Oh, okay. Paul, I thought you were the expert, not James.
No, I think James knows more than me when it comes to the sprints. I have to say that I'm very much middle and long distance. So
Okay. And what about the 100 meters for the women?
yeah, 100 meters for the women I saw the winner was a New Zealander, Zoe Hobbs. And yeah, great run, and then a British woman second, and the Aussie came third, Tori Lewis,
Yep.
10:99. So they're all good times as well. They were running. You know, when you compare them to the Olympic times, because I know a lot of people think, oh, this is just a second rate thing compared to the world champs in the Olympics, but you compare the times and they're not far off.
Okay. So why is it that at the Commonwealth Games the Jamaicans don't dominate the sprints like they do at the Olympics?
Well, I don't know specifically about the Jamaicans as a nation, but I know that certain athletes from certain countries will have decided to miss the Commonwealth Games because they want to concentrate on the European Games, which are coming up in Birmingham, I think, next year. And I mean that would apply to certain European athletes, but maybe not Jamaicans. I know one of the top Jamaican runners who was doing really well in the Diamond League. Can't remember his name now. Blake, I think. He's coming back from an injury, and so he didn't make it through to the final. But
Yep.
he was, he was one of their top runners.
So to be a
So,
case they're trying to manage their fatigue through a season of like the Diamond League, and it's also about, that's where their earnings come from.
well, there's a certain amount of that is where do you, you know, I don't know whether people would see the Commonwealth Games as a waste. Maybe it depends on the timing, what's coming up soon,
Yeah.
or maybe they've just finished a full season of running in Europe, and they think, well, it's best to recover now. So I don't really know. I have to hear from a Jamaican spokesperson to say, what's happening with the Jamaican team. I mean, they've done pretty well actually, medal wise. I mean,
Yeah.
they took out the hurdles and the 4x4, and they actually picked up quite a few medals. So I wouldn't say they were completely absent.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have much time left, so I just want to touch on a couple of other results in other sports from the Commonwealth Games. In the basketball 3-on-3, we had in the men, England actually defeated Australia for the gold medal, and in the women, we had Australia defeating Uganda for the gold medal. But the big shock of the games was actually in the netball, where the Aussie Diamonds were beaten by Jamaica in the semi-finals and it had to play off for the bronze medal. So the Australians beat England in the playoff for the bronze, and New Zealand ended up beating Jamaica for the gold. So that's a huge turn up for the Aussie Diamonds, and I'm sure they would have been pretty annoyed at their performance against Jamaica there. So, Jerry, I think that's about it we've got from sport this week.
All right, thank you so much. Just a quick thanks to the whole panel. Again, our Armchair Couch reporter Adam Holden, Commonwealth Games 2026 Master Panelist Paul, Beauvais, and Richmond Supporter, and tonight's sports panelist James Clarke. Gentlemen, thank you ever so much, and look forward to next week on a different code or two. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.